15 minutes. I just would say 70 seconds. Bringing competition to monopolies and more regulation is what Mr. St. Ange just recommended. That's exactly what this committee is committed to doing, more competition. So that's a good market-based answer. I now recognize Mr. Neguse from Colorado for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for holding this hearing today. Over the course of the pandemic, we have seen, and as we've heard today during the course of this hearing, that when major suppliers of consumer products are faced with limited supply and high demand, they prioritize their biggest retail customers like Walmart and Amazon over small and independent retailers. And those choices impact not only the businesses, but ultimately the communities that they serve. Independent grocers are more likely to be located in lower income or rural areas, including parts of my district, rather than chain stores. And these communities are more likely to experience hardship when trying to access essential goods. There are businesses, many of which that drive our Main Street economies and are at the heart of our communities. But without them, we can expect to see the number of food deserts increase and employee wages decrease. So it's essential that this committee steps in once again to promote competition before it's too late. Mr. Needler, and I know this has been discussed already during the course of this hearing, but independent grocers, which, as you know, are family or employee-owned grocery retailers, often act as an economic anchor in their communities, attracting consumers, generating foot traffic that creates opportunities for other area businesses. Food and Water Watch recently reported that 70% of all grocery sales come from the 4 largest grocery chains in the country, up from 23% in 1993. And I wonder if you could expound a bit on what that kind of high level of concentration in the grocery market means for the ability for small and independent grocers to be able to keep their shelves stocked.
Thank you for your question. And I think your comment started out with quite, kind of the impact of independent grocers. I think a lot of us have either started our first careers in a grocery store bagging groceries, or we know somebody in our family who has. We teach ethics, work ethic, we teach accountability, and it's a great starting point for a lot of the communities from an entry point in the workforce. We also are a great career for many people with good paying jobs, with a good trade and a good skill. Cutting meat's not something that you can just come off the street and know how to do. We produce a lot of products in our stores, and we nourish our communities with healthy, wholesome products, which apparently, really is noticed when we leave. And when you create food deserts, all of a sudden someone realizes what they were taking for granted. So as you see the growth and consolidation of these power buyers, they are able to influence and undue influence over the supply chain and the suppliers. And if we could just, all we're asking for is an enforcement of existing legislation, and maybe we need to tweak it and look at something that was written 70 or 80 years ago. But the fact is what we're trying to do is increase competition by just having a fair set of rules. If I'm going to buy as much as my competition, then hopefully that will allow me to have the same price. And that price is all a very, very important determination in where people choose to support for their grocery choices. So yes, fair competition. Fair competition is great. I'm not saying big is bad. I'm just saying we want to have rules that ensure that folks like me can come to the table and get specific types of products. They hide under class of trade. So they'll give dollar stores a smaller item, and they'll be charging more per ounce, but looks like a cheaper price than something that's on my shelves. Well, I'm not even able, by the consumer, or the CPGs won't even sell that to me. That's not fair. I want a fair table set for me to compete.
Well, I certainly agree. And it touches on something you mentioned in your written testimony with respect to suppliers no longer allowing or eliminating the promotional allowances that they had typically conventionally done for independent grocery stores on many products. So in any event, I think the request that you and independent grocers are making across the country is a reasonable one for an even playing field. I think that statistic that I mentioned, the fact that we've gone from 23% of grocery sales in 1993 coming from the 4 largest grocery chains to 70%, literally almost 3/4 of the entire market, it's a sobering statistic, and it should alarm every American. And I think this committee has a role to play in terms of doing its part to promote competition, which in turn benefits our constituents and consumers right at large. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I would yield back the balance of my time.
Thank the gentleman. Gentleman yields back. I now recognize the ranking member of the full committee, Mr. Jordan, for 5 minutes.
Thank you,